Now, if you're looking to grow your coaching business, sell your online courses, or grow your school community, especially with YouTube, then this is a conversation that we really need to be having, because I'm starting to see a major shift, and I think it's going to become even more relevant across the next year. And that's that authenticity and trust are becoming the new currency on social media platforms, especially with the rise of AI. Now, I'm currently shifting my YouTube niche and audience slightly, so my views are much lower, and I've removed a huge amount of my old content. But even with that drop in views, I'm actually making more money than ever. I'm getting more calls booked, and that's because I'm starting to reach the right people. So it's not necessarily about attention anymore. It's not about trying to get as many views as possible. It's about getting the right ones and connecting with those people on a deeper level. And I think this is going to be what drives more conversions moving forward. So in this video, I'm going to be going through 9 to 10 points about things that I think we really need to focus on and start doing more of as educational creators moving forward. The first point is that as educators, I think it's more important than ever for us to be creating an audience, to develop the skills of creating videos, of getting on camera and growing an audience. Those who control an audience will be the ones who make more money, because without an audience, nothing is possible. You just can't make any money and you can't grow your business. Attention and maintaining it and building trust especially, is what is going to generate sales moving forward. So this is a skill that you have to be doing as an educational creator or a coach online. So you have to learn this particular skill. And even if it's uncomfortable, it doesn't matter how rough it is these days. Authentic content, rough style content is doing very, very well. You just have to get on camera and speak to your audience. But being able to build an audience and leverage that attention and trust will be the engine room behind your business. It's going to be what grows your brand and drives those sales and those conversions for you moving forward. We also then want to be creating conversational types of content. So a little bit sort of vloggy, a bit like this, where I'm just chatting to the camera, but it could be you be out and about. It could be you in your house. It could be you in your car. It doesn't really matter where, but we want to be creating conversational types of videos. We want to be speaking to our audience. We're seeing the rise of long form content on YouTube and also the rise of short form. But short form doesn't really drive conversions. It's just more for brand awareness. So especially for coaches and educators, we want to be moving longer. It's no longer a problem. You might have noticed with a lot of the creators that you follow, their videos have been getting steadily longer and longer. What used to be a 10 to 12 minute video is now an 18 to 20 minute video. And we are seeing videos getting longer because people are creating more conversational types of content. People are starting podcasts, and there is a lot more longer form content. And this could also be because people are watching more on TV. So if you're watching on TV, then hello. But people are consuming long form content and they don't want to be changing video all of the time. So actually longer form content with longer, slower conversations are actually doing better and better. And people watching on TV is starting to grow past the sort of mobile consuming. So we've got this interactive thing happening where people are on their phone, but also watching on TV. So we have many different opportunities here to see what we're doing as a longer form type of conversation with people in general. So you want to be getting on camera. You want to be keeping it authentic. You want to be keeping it relatively unscripted so that it feels more natural, almost like a podcast, but for a video. And then you just want to have points that you're going to speak to and just speak and have a conversation like you would with a normal human being. Try to treat it like you're speaking to a friend. But we want to be having conversations with your audience so they get to know who you are, they get to understand what you stand for, and they get to see that your authority and your knowledge is real. And it's this realness that's going to be massively important across the next year as AI just builds faster and faster momentum. So we are entering the age of AI. Now, we may have thought that we were already in that age, but within the next 6 months, we are going to get the next iteration, which is going to be general intelligence. And this is going to make things really weird. Stuff's going to get weird online. There's going to be a lot of full-length programs, a lot of full-length movies, lots of different things created by different creators on YouTube especially, and that is going to diminish trust even more. So although AI will potentially, it's going to replace us all in some way, shape or form, the thing that it's not going to replace us on is trust and authenticity. People will always crave real, and they will also want to know what they're getting. They want trust. And I can't see AI being able to replace trust in any way, shape or form. So this is why authenticity and trust are going to be massively important as we see things get very weird next year. So you really want to be embracing this imperfect style, this looseness, your mistakes, the fakeness, the realness. The more real it is, the better it's going to be. The more people get to know who you are, the more trust and engagement you're going to get. So we really need to be embracing that authentic style because AI is about to make things very interesting. And swinging back to the long form content part here, it's more of an immersive experience with long form. So if you know that everybody has to watch a certain amount of content to become a customer, and you've got people continuously coming in, but they don't buy straight away, they have to watch, say, 10 videos, then we want to get people to do that as quickly as possible. And the benefit of long form versus shorter videos is that they get more of an immersive experience. They get more time to understand you, your knowledge, what you're trying to say. So we want to be saying the same thing over and over and over. This is why I like to have a single focus for the channel so that you're not bouncing around all over the place, because we want all roads to lead towards your product or your service. So we need to be congruent in our messaging, knowing that people are going to binge watch a lot of your content. We want to be able to get people to that end destination as quickly as possible. But the benefit of long form is that we have an immersive experience, because a lot of the buying decisions come from an emotional part. So therefore, people are going to want to know about the benefits. They're going to want to know about you. They're going to want to know about more. So when people watch these longer form videos, they get to the buying part quicker. Like I've bought products recently after watching 45-minute videos. So sometimes you maybe don't even need many videos to be watched. One long video might be enough to actually make you pull out your credit card and start buying a product or a service. So that's the benefit of long form, is that it's better for conversions because it gives us a more immersive experience. So definitely, if I haven't drilled it home enough by now, you need to be doing long form as coaches or educators. The next thing I think we need to be looking at is we need to see our free content as community service. We want to be doing an amazing job at giving value away for free on everything that we talk about and helping people, actively helping people. We want people to see the value in what we're giving away for free so that they really want to take the next step. They almost want to see what you give away for free and think, wow, well, his paid products must be absolutely amazing. But generally, the idea of the free is to help people have the epiphany that the solution that you have to their problems, which is your product or your service, is definitely what they need. So we do all of the general stuff. We don't hold anything back, but we aren't doing step-by-step training. The paid part will be the step-by-step training, implementation, and also transformation. So the paid part will always be more access to you in terms of implementation. It will be organizing the steps of what they need to do and putting it in sort of chronological order, bit by bit, to try and guide them towards that end goal. People want organization, they want structures, they want shortcuts, they want to be able to ask questions, they want templates, and then they also want an end transformation that you're going to promise to them, and then also bespoke coaching and support to help them get towards that particular goal. So that is really the difference between paid and free. There isn't a huge amount of difference. One is still giving away lots of free value, but it's often a little bit loose. It's not step by step. It's not as detailed in terms of the strategy. It perhaps has a little bit more of the mindset, a little bit more of motivational to try and get people to take action, a little bit more of giving them the belief that something will work for them. So it's not necessarily, we are giving huge amounts of value away, but it's not an organized program necessarily. So you are very free and liberal with the information. You willingly give just about everything away as community service. You do actively want to be helpful and helping people, but it's your paid. The difference between the paid and the free is the organization, the structure, the implementation, and the contact with you. The next big thing that I see over the next year being the key skill to learn over building your audience, being authentic on camera, and really driving connection with your audience for that trust level will be storytelling. Now, storytelling is gaining momentum, is a skill that I'm personally trying to learn, is one that's difficult to use because, trying to think of stories in advance, it is an art and a skill. And some of us are natural at storytelling, and others of us just have to learn it over time and understand the structure and how it works. But storytelling, both your main story behind, often when you're teaching and selling a program, you will have your story, your unique story that makes you and your background special. And that's how you're going to connect to people. Maybe it's an experience that you had, how you reached the decision of why your product or solution works, how it worked for you. It's the journey and the story about how you came to the epiphany and then the breakthrough moment. So your story is massively important, but also just day to day, even mundane stories are going to be key tools for driving connection. People on YouTube that use story, I track them, I see them, they're much better at it than me, but these people are great they get a lot more views and engagement just from the storytelling. The storytelling alone will keep people watching for much, much longer. So storytelling across the next year for me is going to be an absolute key game-changing skill to learn. I'm going to be trying to do more of it on this channel, trying to share more with you as I learn it. But storytelling, even mundane, simple day-to-day stories, drive connection. It's how our human brains work. We connect via story. So if you are a good storyteller, if you have stories that are relevant or even not relevant, it can be stories that just explain the point that you were trying to make in the video. But also if you've got real stories of day-to-day experiences that are relevant to what it is that you teach and talk about, then those stories are going to be extremely powerful. And it could also be testimonials and stories of your customers as well. Those are probably the best stories ever, because it's great having a story coming from you, but stories coming from your customers are even more powerful. I also think that we are entering a different period in terms of content creation, for creating more content rather than less. Now, for some people, they'll be happy about this, and other people not so happy. You can still create one video per week if you want, and if the production value of your video is very high and technical, then, by all means, stick to that. But I think we're starting to see with this conversational type of content that if you're targeting your audience in the right way, you're probably not going to, on average, get as many views as those videos, but between producing more content and the time that it takes to edit and so on, you will actually overall get more views because you're able to produce more content. And I think we're going to be sharing more and more videos. So I think it's going to be more like 2 to 3 videos per week becoming the new minimum, almost a video every other day, because you're going to be having a conversation where you just get used to turning the camera on and sharing what you learn. You're going to be generous with your knowledge, documenting your own journey and the things that you learn. Every time there's a win to share with customers, every time you learn something new or you read a new book or you have a new nugget, you're going to be starting to share that if it's relevant to your audience. And you can be sharing that knowledge as you go through. So we really will be producing more and more content the way I see it. It's just going to be much more straightforward to create it because you're not going to be having to do fancy editing. It could almost be a one take and done with a simple run through to just clean it up a little bit, and then you upload it to YouTube. So as I said, it's almost going to be like micro podcasts. So sort of, let's say a 20-minute video versus a 2-hour podcast, but it's still going to be in the same sort of relaxed conversational style. So you're going to be able to create these videos almost over your coffee in the morning and just upload the videos. They still have to be relevant to your audience. You still want to research the ideas. You will still want to make sure the packaging is right. And if you would like more training on that, I will put links in the video description to how I recommend that you use YouTube and also more step-by-step training with our community, which again, I'll link to that in the video description for you. So it's important that we structure these videos in the right way, but we just can get on camera once we know what we're going to talk about and keep things very relaxed. So I think it's going to be producing more content, taking more shots at goal rather than just having sort of 4 videos and hoping, fingers crossed, that they do well, because quality is not bringing the return anymore. So just creating a really high quality video doesn't mean that it's going to get views. So we want to take more shots at goal and just be producing more and more content. But the benefit is that it's easier to create. And the last point is that the market wants what the market wants. So we have to be very client focused with our content. Often we create videos that we want to make or videos that we're interested in. And sure, if it's a passion project and there's other people that are going to be passionate on the same level, then why not? But if you have a goal-driven channel, an outcome-driven channel where you're trying to sell a product, a service, a coaching program, a school community, an online course, then you have an outcome that you want to take people towards. So you have to create content that is client-focused. It's exactly what they need in the moment that they need it, that they want. You can't just create content that you want. So although for some people that would be a bit boring, a bit frustrating, especially if you're creative and you actually like the experience of creating videos, you're not just doing videos to maintain an audience and sell your products, then maybe you're going to struggle with that a bit more. But we have to be creating content that our clients want. I see this too often with people, and although you can work on the packaging and so on, which will definitely help you get more click-through, in order to increase your watch time, we still have to make sure that the videos are relevant to our audience, that they want to watch the videos, that they resonate with the videos, that they comment and engage, because that's where, after that, the conversions come from. So if you're not creating content that isn't perfectly aligned with your target avatar, then you are going to struggle, especially with moving forward, because it's all about relevancy on YouTube now. It's not necessarily about your subscriber count. It's what have you done for me lately? And sadly, that's just the way it is. That's why we're probably having to create more content as well. But it's about relevancy, and you only stay relevant to your audience if you are producing content that is relevant for them and relevant for your end goal. So relevant for them, relevant for the end goal. If it's only relevant for them but not the end goal, then you're going to have a disconnect. So we really have to be giving the market what it wants with your own style, with your own flair in the way that you want to do it. But don't just make videos that have no bearing on what the goal of your customer and your client are. So with that said, as I mentioned before, if you would like more training, then I will put links in the video description. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.